Okay. This is not really a live stream. I mean, it is. Again, like I said before, when I don't want to do any editing, when I just want to do a quick down and dirty, get it out there, I just use the live format so I don't have to do any uploading and stuff. But uh, I made a video a while back about how the moon is behaving extremely bizarre. So, some people agreed. There was a few, of course, there's always a few who think that it's nonsense and, oh, you just don't understand how things work and all that. Okay, great. I know what category to put you in. I'm not concerned about your beliefs or whatever based on what you've been sold your entire life. I don't care. I actually observe these things. I'm out at 3 o'clock in the morning looking at the moon. I'm pretty sure you're probably not. So anyway, a couple things. One is I talked about the complete randomness of the moon, its location in the sky, and also when it appears, when it doesn't, and there's these people, well, every night it rises 50 minutes, later than the previous night. Okay, that's super. But the other night I was up at 3 a.m. and I went out in the back because in the front, I was like, there's no moon. I can't see a moon. So I went in the back and it was just off the horizon. It had just risen 3 a.m. No big deal. But last night when I saw the moon, it had the crescent moon, the smiley face. It was pretty thin. It was, a fairly new. I don't know if it's waxing or waning right now. I think it should be waning because I think it was full not long ago. So it's probably, if not tonight or very soon, I guess it'll be a new moon because the crescent was pretty thin, but it was on the very bottom again. Like I said, growing up, let me show you. I've got some images here. I know what you're thinking. Oh God, here he goes with images. See, I'm getting a little bit better. I'm a little bit quicker. So this is like, I mean, it's not your typical crescent moon. This is like a quarter moon, but let's say you cut that in half. It's about how it was. I think it was last night. Time's all goofy now. But okay, so they tell us that the light of the moon is sunlight reflecting off the moon. Okay, well, it's obviously not for a lot of reasons. This dusty, dirty cat box isn't going to reflect light so brightly that on a full moon you could go outside and cast a shadow and you could read a book by it. Okay, that's just not reality. But let's say that this is the sun light hitting the moon. Okay. You follow it out. Maybe. I mean, in the daytime, sometimes it works because you can see the sun and the moon in the sky at the same time. So you can kind of see how the lit part of the moon that you see, it used to be pretty spot on. Lately, it's not nearly as accurate as it used to be. And again, you can argue, but I've observed these things for years. I've always been fascinated by it. Hello, Paranormal Poison. But now sometimes in the daytime when the sun and the moon are both up, which is odd that it happens, it seems like almost the norm now. Or it was. Again, now the moon's lately the moon's been kind of playing like hide and seek. And if we're heading into a new moon phase, which I think we are, it's going to be gone again so the moon has been less observable, in my opinion. Like you just don't see it as much. And when you do, it's in weird positions straight up in the sky. Okay, so this is pretty much a crescent. It's a little fuller than a crescent, but fairly much a crescent. Okay, so, but this, I'm going to show you how it, I'm used to seeing growing up I always saw as when I saw a crescent moon, what it looked like. And it looked more like this. So this is the crescent moon that I'm used to seeing. Are you going to open? This is, again, that's still a little full. That's a crescent though. But this is more of what I'm used to seeing growing up as a crescent moon, where the center point of the crescent moon is about 5 o'clock. So it was always at like a 45-degree angle, either bottom right or bottom left, sometimes top left or whatever. But this is what I'm used to seeing as a crescent moon. And I think most people can agree, yeah, that looks like the crescent moon I grew up with. This is, all right, I didn't take this photo, but this is basically the crescent moon I saw, I think it was last night. Because the previous night, I think, is when I didn't see it until 3 o'clock in the morning. But this is what it looked like last night, I think. This was last night. Okay. This is new to me. Well, not new. It's been doing this for several years, but it's new to a lot of people. That people are starting to realize, like, wait a minute, why is it on the very bottom like that? But they don't take it like a step further, okay? Because they tell us that the light of the moon is a reflection of the sun, okay? Well, if that is the sunlight causing that sliver on the bottom of the moon, and that's the horizon right there, there's some trees, where would the sun be? Well, the sun would be underneath the earth, like under, shining almost behind, like it. You almost can't see where the sun would be in order to create what you're seeing here. Let's just say it would have to be like, let's just say directly below or below and behind. Well, if it was behind, then it would be daytime. Clearly, this is nighttime. If it's on the other side of the earth and you're just, I mean, the globe that they tell us, and you're just seeing this, that would mean that the reason you're only seeing this bottom is because, well, A, the sun would be below the earth still, but the earth would be between the sun and the moon. So this would be a partial lunar eclipse, which, if what they say was true, then every time you had a crescent moon, let's say when it starts like as a sliver like this and it gets a little bigger, up until it's full, basically, those are all partial lunar eclipses. So you'd have basically a partial lunar eclipse every day of the month, except for a full moon, which would last, say, a day or two. You have a full moon, and then, like, the day before and the day after, it's like at 98, 99% full. So pretty close. So let's say a 3-day stretch out of every month where you weren't getting at least a piece of a lunar eclipse, because for the sunlight, if that was sunlight, to be like that, the only explanation would be that the sun is directly below the moon, straight down, which makes no sense in heliocentric or geocentric models, or the earth is in the way. And again, the sun would be below the earth, but like behind you. And so this would be a partial lunar eclipse. And it would be, so what I'm saying is, if what they say is true, then, and I could be wrong, but basically 28 days out of every month, somewhere in there, you'd have basically a partial lunar eclipse, either almost a full lunar eclipse, like in this case, or if it was, half a moon, you would have, a 50% lunar eclipse, and then it would go down, 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 down until it was a full moon. And then you'd have no lunar eclipse, just a full moon. And then when it started waxing or waning again, you're back to having partial eclipses a little bit more every day. So the majority of every day would be some version or form or degree of a lunar eclipse. They would be the norm. Again, you'd only have 2 or 3 days a month where you didn't have at least some form of a lunar eclipse. So in my opinion, besides a lot of other things, this debunks the fact that the light you see coming from the moon is sunlight reflecting. Now, I do believe that the moon gets charged by the sun as like a battery, and I think its phases kind of prove that, how it waxes and wanes, and then you got the new moon, and then the full moon, and then as the light either waxes or wanes, the battery is either discharging or charging, depending on if you're waning would be a discharge and waxing would be a charge. So like I said, my friend and I have been observing the moon anomalies recently. And one of the biggest questions we had was, why isn't anybody noticing this or talking about it? And I think I know the answer. I think there's a couple of reasons. One is this realm, the way it operates is on distractions. And so people are too distracted because they're of this world and not just in this world. Christ told us to be in this world, but not of it. Unfortunately, most people are of this world. Their primary focus is of worldly things, whether it be monetary things, material possessions, or being able to afford to put food on the table, pay the rent, what their political party's doing, what the other, it's the reason we were told not to be of this world. Well, most people are, so they're distracted. And then every time, I don't know if they, throw these made events out to increase the fear and the loosh to feed off of, or if they do it because they're bored, or somebody had an idea at a meeting. It's like, hey guys, what if we do this? Like the Charlie Kirk thing, there's still people debating on how he was killed, when clearly he wasn't. It was a complete psyop. And you know what? You shouldn't even care. Who cares? And so they can distract you with that. The World War III is always just a moment away. There's, and a lot of it is they can get you in the fear state based on you believing in lies. So if you believe in the heliocentric model as opposed to the biblical model, then they can tell you, oh, there's a comet coming in April of 2029 called, I don't know what it is, 1A Apollo or Apophis, whatever they called it. And that puts people in a fear state because they're of this world and not just in it. They believe the system that runs this world. And so they're easy to control, manipulate. And so people don't notice the fact that the moon is rotating like a clock. They don't notice that the crescent moon is on the bottom now, and how that completely debunks that could be sunlight that's doing that. They don't question the fact that the moon is, because they don't even look at the moon. The majority of people live in huge cities. They can't even probably see the moon most of the time with light pollution and all the chaos they're trying to avoid just to get through a day in the urban jungle. They're not going to pay. Nobody that lives in a city is going to go, hey, the moon's been rotating. It's just not going to happen. So they distract because people participate in the beast system. So they're so vested in the material and what's going on, and what political party's doing what, and my guy did this and your guy, they're deceived on every level, and they're just not going to notice. Also, and I think COVID proved this, people like to be ruled over. The default setting for most people is they want to be told what to do and ruled over. That's why they consent every 4 years and vote for someone to rule over them. Nothing ever changes. My party gets in, everything will be better. It's not. And then the next time the other party gets in, nothing changes. But they just have that hope. Oh, come on, my guy can do it. I got it. They put all their faith in men. And again, they like being ruled over. So that to me explains, and plus they've got the media 100% in their pocket. They control the media. So if somebody did, somebody of renown that had a following, they would just shut it down. You're just not going to see it. It's just like if somebody had a Bigfoot in their front yard and sat down and talked to him, and Bigfoot's like grunting or whatever Bigfoots do, and they've got HD, they just put their boot down and nobody would see that film. Okay. So they have complete control. So even if people were noticing this stuff, which they're not going to because they're stupid and distracted and dumbed down. And, who's playing the game tonight? And then what did Trump just say? They don't notice these things. Okay. And the other thing is with AI, Palantir, and all that stuff, if they're not there already, they're going to be able to get to the point where they do, or like Minority Report, where they predict what's going to happen, probably with extreme accuracy. They've got the human psyche, they've got it down to an art form. They can sense patterns. And with, like I said, these AI data centers, they're going to know what you're going to do before you even have the idea. Like, oh, you know what I should do? They'll already know you're planning on doing it. It's going to be insane. So let's just say, and this will never happen, there was some sort of mass awakening and all these people were like, oh, have you guys noticed the moon's rotating clockwise? They would know that was coming out before it came out. Boom, distraction. Economy crash, World War III, terrorist attack, somebody else gets assassinated, whatever. They just, there's a bunch of people that are about to figure this out. Boom, they distract them. It's super easy. And the problem is most people don't understand how this realm operates. There's still people saying, like, what was it recently? Like, they came out and said Trump took like a new COVID shot. And there's people going, like, people are like, no, he didn't take, no, he's never taken a COVID shot. And there's people like, they posted the letter from his doctor. Like, that's how mind controlled people are. So there's not going to be any sort of mass awakening. But again, if you can explain how the crescent moon is now on the bottom and where that, in the heliocentric model, where that would place the sun. And in this photo you're looking at right here, where's the sun? It would almost have to be straight down below, obviously behind, because it's 93 million miles away. But I mean, it has to be below the earth in order to hit the bottom of the moon. Okay. Well, that's not the model they sell us. They say we're all on this celestial plane where everything's basically flat. The sun isn't, 20 Earth diameters below the earth. It's supposed to be on a plane, level, which is a way of telling you that we live on a plane. But this moon here in this image is not possible in the model that you've been sold since you were in your crib and then watching Sesame Street and then kindergarten. I mean, come on. That's why people can't wrap their brain around it, because it's their entire life they've been told a lie. So some people, due to pride, they just can't say, oh, I was fooled. Let me look into this and see what the truth is. It's way easier just to believe the lie and move on than to say, oh my God, I fell for that. They're just not going to do it. The cognitive dissonance kicks in, pride kicks in, ego kicks in. And also the phenomena, I'm not sure what the name of it is basically going along with the crowd. You don't want to stand out. The tallest nail gets hammered down or whatever. They don't want to be that guy, is the easiest way to put it. They don't want to be called wacky or crazy or stupid by people they don't even know online, or have their parents or their family think that they're nuts. Who cares? That ship has sailed. If you're still concerned about what others think of you, you've already lost at this game. So why this is important, you could be like, so let's just say that biblical cosmology is true. What does that doesn't, so what? It doesn't change it, my life any. Well, the Bible has several mentions of basically what we're seeing right now. Luke 21:25 says there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. And I'm reading here off a search here, so it does break down the verses, but I'm just going to give you the overview. There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. Other verses describe these signs as the sun turning to darkness and the moon to blood, as seen in Acts 2:19 through 20 and Revelation 6:12. These celestial events are often associated with the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. So if the things, like the crescent moon is now on the bottom, okay, it wasn't ever like that. I don't care who tells you it wasn't. I've watched the moon since I was a kid. This is, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing 3 to 5 years, maybe, that it's now on the bottom. It does not, or it's not supposed to, appear to rotate clockwise. It does. There's some other things it's doing. The time, like I said, it didn't even show up in the sky a couple nights ago until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then last night when I saw it look like this with the crescent on the bottom, it wasn't even close to 3 o'clock. So it rose way earlier. So the times are way off. Positions in the sky. Like I said, recently, when I first started paying attention again, this, I don't know, it was probably August when I started like nightly, just checking the pattern. Like I said, it was about 45 degrees off the horizon. It would arc from the east to the west and set. And then about 2 weeks ago, it started rising in the east and going almost just straight up. Like it hardly went west at all. It would just go up. And it was like, where are you going? Like, I don't even know what you're doing. And then, like I said, last couple nights ago, maybe 3 nights ago, it was nowhere to be seen till 3 o'clock in the morning. And then last night, it looked like this photo here. So these are signs in the sun, moon, and stars. There's others. I mean, people are seeing all kinds of stuff. People are saying they're seeing really odd sun behavior. I haven't seen the sun behavior. I've only seen the moon behavior. But a lot of people are reporting strange anomalies with the sun and the stars also. I see stuff moving around there all the time. If I go out on my deck and lean back in a chair and watch the sky for 10 minutes, I'll see all kinds of stuff going on up there. It's just right now at night here. I think we have a freeze warning tonight. It's just too damn cold. But so that's why it matters that people stop and look and pay attention, because God told us there's going to be signs. Well, guess what? Everybody's missing the signs right now, except, I don't know. I know of me and another guy. That's it. So I don't think there's a lot of people figuring this out, but it's important. And I don't know, maybe take a little time out of your busy schedule and look at the sky clock that our Father created for us, and, for signs and seasons. And, it's a perfect calendar. It's a timepiece. But he said, in the end days, I'm going to make it do some weird stuff that's not what you would consider normal. And that is part of the signs. So I don't know, it might be kind of important to pay attention to this because it is behaving extremely bizarre. Like I said, right now it's 20 after 10 here. There's not even a glow on the horizon. I don't know when it'll rise tonight. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning again. It could, I don't know. If it's going into a new moon phase, maybe I won't see it at all tonight, but things are definitely going on up there. And like I said, you're not going to hear about it from the media. They're not going to report on it. And you're probably not going to hear about it on social media from others because they're too distracted with this world. So it's up to you. If you want to know if things are going on, things are changing, kind of tells you what season we're in. If you look up there and go, oh, okay, yeah, there's some really weird stuff going on. That's not normal. I've never seen that my entire life. It might be important. Anyway, if not, fine. I don't care. It's up to you. But everyone take care. And there was probably some other stuff I was going to put on there, but I don't remember it. So anyway, peace. Take care.